A space to speak your mind with Cornwall Mind.
Welcome to A Space to Speak Your Mind, a radio programme and a podcast about mental health and wellbeing, made by people with lived experience as part of a wellbeing group run by Cornwall Mind. We do occasionally cover subjects that some listeners may find distressing. For more information, help and support, please visit cornwallmind.org. I'm Richard and welcome to the September show. On today's programme, Victoria is going to be talking about unemployment and mental health with Joe Emery, who's a copywriter and content writer. Plus, she is joined by Andrea Gewessler from Change That Matters, and Vincent, who's just been taking her course through his local job centre. So first, let's hear from Victoria chatting with Joe.
A space to speak your mind.
So, I'm here with Joe Emery. You are a copywriter and a content writer, is that correct?
Yep.
So you've had quite a bad experience with unemployment and your mental health. Do you want to share that with us?
Yeah, I'm a copywriter. I lost my role. That was 2 years ago. I didn't expect the job hunt to be trouble-free, but I never expected it to be this brutal. And 2 years later, I've only picked up scraps. And it's had an enormous toll on my physical health, my mental health, and of course, my financial health.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell us about what impact it's had on your mental health. I know you've been through quite a lot. I've been reading some of your posts on LinkedIn.
Yeah, I hit rock bottom. I was admitted to psychiatric care. It just got a bit too much for me. Self-harming, suicidal thoughts, depression, anxiety, panic attacks. It's been pretty bad, yeah.
Do you feel that was all brought on by the unemployment, or was it kind of there in the background anyway?
No, for sure, I think it was. I mean, I've had some mental health struggles in the past, around 2012, but I went on medication and I was really stable and it just got too much. And yeah, this latest episode of ending up in psychiatric care was for sure brought on by the financial pressure of being out of work for so long, yeah.
Do you think that the unemployment as well, it's sort of like the lack of stimulation of the brain and the lack of kind of stuff to do each day, does that really affect you as well as the pressure and the stress of the finances?
Well, you can't really relax when you're unemployed or looking for work. I mean, I love watching films. I love reading. I can't remember the last time I sat down and relaxed and watched a film because it's so hard to switch off. So it's all very well saying, I'll have a day off from the job hunt today, but your mind is just racing all the time and it is impossible to sit down and relax and watch a film or read a book or something.
Yeah, there's like literally no time away from it. It's constantly there.
Yeah, it is constantly there, and it follows you to bed and seeps into your nightmares as well. So it does take up every waking hour of my life, this stress and the anxiety. And then it follows me to bed at night.
And how about the rejection kind of side of it? It's pretty horrible, isn't it, to receive those bog standard emails, through just where you feel like they've not even looked at your CV? Yeah,
I mean, I've applied for jobs that I'm absolutely perfect for, that I tick all the boxes and more. And yeah, at best you get a generic email rejection. After careful consideration, we decided not to go ahead. Or at worst, you get nothing, you get silence. And you get silence a lot of the time, yeah.
Do you think that's something that's really increased in the market? Because I know I've noticed that, the absolute ghosting, instead of actually receiving a response and feedback, there's literally nothing.
I think so, because they just haven't got the human power to deal with sitting there and replying to everyone individually and giving feedback. I spoke to a recruiter and I think it was last year, she said 50,000 applications they had. And she said, it's just, there's two of them. How can they possibly reply to that? They wouldn't do anything else. I can't really blame them because I don't expect them to spend days and days and weeks and months replying to everyone when they just haven't got the capacity to do that because they're receiving so many applications.
And there's not that, I'm finding, I don't know if you're finding, there's not the headhunting going on. Like before, I'd be approached by a recruiter and they say, I've got this role, do you want to go for it? That's just not happening.
Calls from recruiters just don't happen anymore. The contracting market has completely disappeared. I haven't had a call since before the pandemic of a recruiter saying, we've got this 6-month gig, it's paying £350 a day, because that, if I could get one of those, it'd really help me. I mean, it'd really help me turn a corner, but the contracting market has just disappeared. Then you've got the perm jobs, so that there's more perm jobs about if you can get one. I'm not even getting an interview, but even if I did, I'm seeing senior copywriter jobs in London wanting 3-4 days on site, paying £35,000.
Yeah. That's something I've noticed is the salaries are just not there.
No, the salaries aren't there, and they're expecting 3-4 days in a week in the office. And for a lot of people, that's £20-30 a day.
Absolutely, yeah.
So yeah, it's a lot of money taken out of your wage packet, a wage packet that isn't very high to start with.
Exactly. How do you feel that AI has contributed to this? I know there's this whole thing about the ATS systems that the CVs are going through now.
Well, a lot of recruiters are saying they're reading every CV. I put up a post on LinkedIn and it caused quite a stir. It had job seekers saying robots are reading CVs. Don't be fooled by this. And you had recruiters piling in saying, I read every single CV I get. So I don't really know who to believe, really. If you ask recruiters, they say humans are reading CVs. You ask job seekers, they're saying robots are reading CVs. So I really don't know what to believe in that. But I would be very surprised if every CV in the world is being read by a human. I'm sure robots are involved in some companies.
Absolutely. Yeah, I certainly think so. It does seem to be the case. Have you done that whole thing of making your CV ATS compliant and putting it through AI and all this?
Yeah, I've used AI to do that with my CV, but it hasn't come up trumps yet. So yeah, I don't even know if my CV is being read by a human, because if I get silence, I don't know. If I get a rejection, a boiler template rejection, I still don't know if a human's read that or if it's just an automated thing. So I really don't know.
What are you doing to kind of deal with the pressures of unemployment? Like, the longer it goes on, what are you doing to help make yourself feel better? Have you received any decent advice from people as well? Any tips or things that you would like to share?
I mean, there's a lot of people who have contacted me to try and help me. I'm relying on my family, my friends. I try to keep active still, but it's very hard to be anywhere apart from in the job hunt in your mind. It just consumes your mind and really does take over.
Yeah, very much so. So anything that any recruiter or friend has said to you that's been helpful? Anything at all?
I've had some help on my CV. I'm a copywriter, but I'm not a CV writer. I've had advice on my CV, how to get it past the robot. This robot, does it exist or doesn't it exist? We're not sure. I've had some people help me, but it hasn't really been enough to come up trumps yet, no.
Yeah, and how about feedback? Like, have recruiters been positive and have they provided feedback? Has anyone actually, given you feedback saying you didn't get this job because? Have you received any feedback at all?
No, nothing at all.
No, I haven't either.
I don't know what that word means anymore.
It's so weird, isn't it? Like, there's literally nothing, and you feel like, have they actually looked at it?
Yeah, that's the thing. You just do not know if it's a robot or even a human reading it, But feedback just seems to be non-existent.
I'll just quickly share an experience I had, which was I interviewed with a law firm. I then did a writing test, and I didn't hear back. So I chased the recruiter, because it was through a recruitment company. Nothing. Chased them again, nothing. Then I thought, it's been a month. I've got the email address of the guy who would have been my line manager, because he sent me the test to do that day. So I sent him an email. I'm guessing I didn't get the role. It was really lovely to meet you. If there's anything in future, I'd love to work with your team. Please let me know. Didn't think anything of it, because it was just a nice, I was closing it out saying, I guess you've hired someone else. 15 minutes later, the recruiter calls me. Why did you email so-and-so blah, blah, blah at this law company? I've had HR on the phone. They're saying you're going behind my back. I was like, oh my God, what the, I was like, literally all I'm doing is trying to find out if they'd actually hired someone. Was there any feedback? And then, just bear me in mind in future. I wasn't trying to go behind your back.
No, it sounds like you've touched a sensitive point there, maybe a bit too overly sensitive point, maybe.
I thought, what is it coming to now that we're kind of getting a smack for somebody? It's like all the niceties have gone out the window. There's no humanness, there's no empathy, there's just no care.
No, there's no feedback, there's no all those things you say. It just feels like there's no care. I mean, I know they're swamped, but it's still not an excuse to show zero care, and it's still not an excuse to send a boilerplate rejection when someone interviews with your company,
No, absolutely. No, it's disgraceful, really. And what are you doing with your time? Have you found anything positive to do with your time? You said you've had a bit of freelance work here and there. You know, are you doing anything else? From my point of view, I did a bit of volunteer work. I still have my radio show and I contribute to this. But it's really hard. You know, what are you doing with your time?
Most of my time is spent on LinkedIn looking for work. I mean, I feel like I live on that platform. And I checked my hours spent in a week on LinkedIn and it was absolutely insane levels. I was spending like 10, 12, 13, 14 hours a day on it. So pretty much every waking hour is spent on LinkedIn. But it's very hard to tear yourself away from it when it consumes you so much. It really is hard, yeah.
I found that too. So sometimes I don't want to go on it because I know I'm going to like spend the whole day on it.
I know, yeah. And you just find yourself kind of just refreshing and hoping that something's going to break. It does become obsessive. I'm not using that word lightly. I really do think, I really admit that it's become an obsession. Checking LinkedIn has become an obsession for me. Just hoping and praying that just something will break. You'll see something, oh, I need a copywriter, and it hasn't got 500 copywriters saying I'm available. I'll ping you my portfolio, yeah.
It seems like a lot of it is down to luck, being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, I think so. But I would encourage job seekers, you know, to increase that luck, just amplify your message on LinkedIn and don't be afraid to say it how it is, because that's helped me pick up bits of work. I mean, granted, it's been scraps, but being open about my struggles has got me bits of work.
That's good. And hopefully it'll bring more as well.
Hopefully, yeah. You still wake up with that same hope. Today is the day that my life's going to turn around, and that hope sort of fades throughout the day. And then you get a rejection in your email and it deflates you. But then you go to bed, of course, with the job market on your mind, you sleep with it on your mind, and you wake up and you still wake up with that same hope, even though you've been so deflated and I've hit rock bottom and I've ended up in psychiatric care. I still kind of cling on to that hope that one of these days my life's going to turn around. So hope it materialises soon.
Absolutely. And, you know, I hope that for you too. And,
thank you.
You know, I'm in a similar kind of boat, really.
A lot of people are, yeah.
Yeah, looking for that fresh start and just wanting to move life forward instead of feeling so stuck.
Yeah, I mean, there's feelings of worthlessness. You feel left behind in life. There's all sorts. I mean, it doesn't just hit, and it just doesn't hit you financially. It hits you mentally, all those feelings, and it hits you physically as well. I mean, I've got a chip in my front tooth that I think I've been grinding so much. I've had eczema so bad I bleed. I've noticed like a hair falling out in clumps. I've had panic attacks so bad I can't breathe. So it's not just mental, it hits you everywhere. Mentally, financially and physically. It takes an enormous toll on your physical health, your mental health, and of course your financial health, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. I totally relate to all that you're saying. And are you currently receiving some support with this, with your mental health, and, you know, any kind of coaching or counselling or anything at all that's proving to help you through this period?
Not enough because there's such a long waiting list for everything. So I'm not getting the help I think I need. But what can they do? They're completely understaffed thanks to austerity. You know, public services are completely understaffed. NHS, the police. So, yeah, unless they start taking on more people, it's going to be a persistent problem. But unfortunately, austerity has stripped a lot of services back, and that's why I'm not getting the help that I think I need. And I think 15, 20 years ago, I probably would have got that help.
Yeah. What help would you like to receive if you could have it?
Some talking therapy I'd like. I'm on the waiting list for that. It was suggested that I get an ADHD test. I was told the waiting list is 3 years for that. It's just madness, 3 years for a waiting list for ADHD. I was expecting maybe 3 months, but not 3 years.
Yeah, I've been on the waiting list for 2 years for ADHD. I got a preliminary test that I am ADHD, but now I'm waiting.
Yeah, I think I am as well.
Final thoughts, really. What keeps you going with this? Because it's so hard, and you know, honestly,
it's so hard. Family, friends. Sometimes you the last few days I've been thinking, no, I just don't care anymore. I'm beyond. It's taken such a toll on me that I'm sort of beyond caring, and I can't even be bothered to get anxious and stressed about it. At the moment, the way I'm feeling is just like, what will happen? And I'm sure that I'll swing back round in a few days and I'll be completely anxious about it. But it's just worn me out so much physically and mentally that I'm just kind of, whatever happens, happens.
I definitely can relate to that as well. Thank you so much for your time, and I really appreciate you being so open and honest about this. It's a topic I really feel isn't being discussed enough.
No, it's not. And I think hopefully I'm trying to make a difference on LinkedIn by talking about it. I've had a lot of nice messages. I've had a few people tear me down, but they're not going to stop me. They make me shout louder.
No, I think it's great that you're sharing on LinkedIn, and that's really stood out for me and hence prompted me to get in contact. So thank you so much, and I wish you all the best with your job hunt. Let me know as soon as you get that job.
Thank you. Yeah, I wish you the best, and anyone listening, I hope it's been helpful and insightful. And if you're searching as well, just don't give up. Keep going.
Thank you. Thank you so much,
Thank
Joe.
you.
A space to speak your mind with Cornwall Mind.
This is A Space to Speak Your Mind. That was Victoria talking to Joe Emery, copywriter and content writer. Now let's hear from Andrea Gewessler from Change That Matters, and Vincent, who's just been taking her course through his local job centre. Chatting to Victoria.
A space to speak your mind with Cornwall Mind.
Yeah, so Andrea, would you like to tell us a bit about what you do?
Yeah, I run a wellbeing program for job seekers called Refilling the Well, and I do that through Bexley Business and Employment at the moment. They were really keen to support the job seekers they support, so it's a council job brokerage service, and they were really keen to support the job seekers in better ways because they felt that the mental health of people was diminishing because of unemployment. And some of them have been unemployed for quite a long time. And they then lose social connections, they lose confidence, and they really wanted to do something beyond the helping them with a CV or sending them to an interview. And so we started this about 2.5 years ago. We've now, so Vincent, who is here as well, is part of, I think it's the 5th or the 6th cohort of people. And it's an 11-week program for 4 hours during the day. And we meet on a weekly basis. And I find it's an amazing program, but Vincent will tell you what he thinks. So the Refilling the Well program is really based on the most important elements are creating a sort of community. So this community feeling of people checking in with each other, of actually having a social network, and then building some resilience, some basic resilience. So really about dealing with their stresses, understanding their own stress response, and having tools to calm their nervous system, right? Because a lot of the time when people are under stress, when they have a lot of job searching, the rejections, the recruitment processes these days where people are not even informed if they didn't get it. And that frustration about never quite knowing and not getting feedback after an interview. And then with the long-term unemployment, it's then it's financial issues, it's, sometimes housing issues, sometimes it's relationship issues. So people are in fight or flight quite a lot of the time because that's how our bodies work. And I'm trying to teach them tools how to get out of fight or flight and actually access that sort of calmer state again, which enables them to be more resourceful, because our brains actually, there are two main things. So we've got our prefrontal cortex, which does all the decision taking and all those executive functions. And then the amygdala is our alarm center. And it seems that either the amygdala can be switched on or the prefrontal cortex. And once the amygdala is turned on, which is involved in the fight or flight, then we can't actually take good decisions anymore. And so that is really the basis we start off with. And then we go on to other things like actually looking at something called the drama triangle and the empowerment dynamic. So when I'm in constant fight or flight, the likelihood is that I spend quite a lot of time in drama of being either a rescuer or a victim or a persecutor and feeling that things are happening to me rather than that I'm in any way of control of what's going on. And we then sort of teach skills about how can you get out of that, to be more empowered again and to take active decisions, to problem solve and stuff like that. We look at values and what people's goals are, and that we often look for, in the short term, actually taking the easy route of what we're used to is usually easier, but it usually gets us the same results. So we're talking about something called the choice point, where either I'm moving towards my values and my goals, or I keep doing the comfortable thing but they move me further away from them. And we then also use sort of strategies like thinking strategies and problem-solving strategies about how I can move more towards the values and goals that I have, rather than to keep doing the comfortable thing in the moment, but that's painful in the long term. And then we look at values and mindset and beliefs. And sometimes when we have got time, with some groups it works out, with some groups it doesn't work out. We also look at sort of that whole communication piece about how can we communicate better with others, because that's also a very useful skill. All of those skills are really useful also when you're in the workplace. So it's not only making the unemployment easier and the interviews smoother, and we also talk about things like body language and confidence building. So it's an array of things, and sometimes we talk about AI and
something we'll definitely talk about in a minute.
Yeah.
Oh, it sounds fantastic. So Vincent, how did you come to the program?
Okay, so I got told about the program from my work coach from Universal Credit. And basically, I just got in contact, and then basically, I just got told about the program, but it wasn't so much in depth. It was more about, they were talking about they're going to help with a CV, they'll help me to find a work placement. So to be honest, when I first heard about it, I just heard work placement. Okay, sign me up. I'll be honest, I did not really think too much of it. In my mind, I was thinking anything to put me in a better position to get back into work, I'll take it. Then when I first went in for the introduction or the first time when I saw Andrea, I realized that this was going to be very different to what I'm used to. And I'm sure that it'll be helpful. Probably will struggle a bit. Maybe some bits I will find easier. Yeah, in general, it's been a very positive experience. And I have also, from the course, I've incorporated some of the stuff into my everyday life. And basically, I don't know, I feel like I'm in a much better position than I was when I first went into the course.
Amazing. How long had you been unemployed, and what are you looking to do in the workplace? Like, what's the sort of backstory that you've had with employment?
All right. Okay. So I've been unemployed for nearly about a year. The kind of work that I'm looking to do is currently right now is admin, because I come predominantly from a customer service and security background. But the thing is, I want to move into something that is, not always put me doing night shifts. And plus, I feel like maybe it's time to use more of my brain and do a bit more computer stuff than more, walking around and talking. I mean, I don't mind the talking part, I don't mind walking around part, but obviously I just wanted to have a change. Yeah, so basically currently right now, the program has already found me a work placement. I start tomorrow, so I'm looking forward to that. So then that's an extra thing that I can look forward to. I'm very pleased that I have actually gone into the course, and basically, I've learned a lot from Andrea, and basically I'm hoping that I'll keep using it and build on from there, and move forward, basically.
You've told me stuff before. Yeah, Vincent, you've told me stuff before. So you've been telling me about that you're regularly doing the breathing exercises, and that you're much calmer now, and you're going for more walks, and you've even, in a way, it's changed the relationship with some of your family, because you're giving appreciation, and you're also teaching the techniques to other people. So those are some things you've been telling me.
Oh yeah. So basically, I don't really think about it like that. It's normally when I see someone struggling, I'll say, well, I don't know if this helps for you, but I said it helps for me at least. And basically, I just tell them to close your eyes and then just take a deep breath and then hold it in for a couple of seconds and then breathe out. And I just tell them deep breaths in, hold it in for a couple of seconds, deep breath out. And then normally I ask them, how do they feel? And basically they said a lot calmer. I went, yep, that's exactly what it's supposed to do. And then I said that it helps me a lot. So basically I'm glad that it's helping other people. And in terms of the meditation, I find that to be very helpful for me. I'm not sure if everyone does it, but it helps me because I think about stuff a lot. So basically the meditation normally puts me in the present more, so then my mind's not wandering as much. So it helps me. Nearby where I live, there's a pier there. I normally go there for a walk and I sit down there, and then afterwards I just enjoy the environment. And basically I find that to be very helpful for my mental health anyway.
So you've learned so much from this course?
Yeah, some of the stuff I already know, but do you know when you know something but you're not applying it? It's a bit different than applying it. Because I'm applying it now, I'm starting to see a lot of the benefits of it. For me, I would say I'm a bit slower to the others when I first started doing it. And I thought, okay, then this might be one of those things that you have to do on the regular for you to feel the benefits. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to keep doing it until when I start seeing benefits. And if I don't see any benefits, then I'm going to have to try something else. Basically, that was my mindset going into it. And luckily for me, it kind of works. So basically, I've just stuck to it, to be honest. I mean, there's other people that's in the course. They do different things compared to me. I think it's down to the individual, to be honest. Maybe because I'm more simpler and the breathing and the meditation is enough for me. But some people, they might need something a bit more. I'll say the thing from the course what I realize is that, I mean, the way I see things is slightly different now. So I will probably say that I'm more reaching for the positives than trying to stay in the negatives. Normally, when I see someone struggling, breathing is something like Andrea said, that everybody knows how to breathe. But the thing that, do you actually conscious of your breathing and do you actually pay attention to it? So basically, what I realized that a lot of people don't. Me, myself included, when I first started, and now, because I'm more conscious of it, I realized that it's a very useful tool that, from memory, when I was upset, when I was in primary school, they would tell me to take deep breaths in and all that. And basically, I never thought much of it. I just thought it was just to distract me, just purely just to distract me. I didn't think about whether it regulates my system inside or anything like that. I just thought that it just distracts me. But now I have a different view on it. I won't say I'm a preacher, but if I see anyone that is struggling, I'll just say that just this one tool helps. So basically, just bear this in mind, and then afterwards, if you do that whenever you are in any abnormal state, it normally helps. I mean, to be honest, when I went for a job interview before, I had to wait there for like over an hour. And basically, I was starting to get impatient. So I thought, right, I'm going to breathe, but without closing my eyes. So it looks like I'm just breathing normal. And then basically, I did that for, I don't know how long I did it for, but it was quite a while, I think. And then luckily, someone came to see me. I thought, oh, thank goodness, I don't have to keep breathing. Because obviously, I was running out of things to do. Because obviously, when you're sat in the waiting area where you got people at the desk, there's only so much things that you can do. Because I brought my CV, I brought the description. I was reading that about 5, 6, 7 times. I can't read it anymore. So I literally ran out of things to do. And the breathing thing was my last resort. Luckily, I had that tool, because if not, I wouldn't know what to do with myself. Probably twiddle my thumbs, I guess. I don't know.
Breathing's been the key tool, is it? The breathing exercises. Would you say that's your absolute number one takeaway at this stage anyway?
Yeah, because normally when you're feeling, say, neutral or feeling good, your feeling inside is very different to when you're feeling frustrated, anxious, or panicky. Normally, when you're in those states, your heart rate goes up. And basically, if you take a pause for a moment and then you just breathe, it normally slows it down, and then you normally stay more calmer afterwards. So I'll probably say it's one tool that I'll say is a simple tool that I think every single person that is living, at least, has the ability to do. So then that's why I see it as a number one tool to use, that everyone can do it without any prejudice against it. I mean, maybe some people will, but I'm saying generally, I think it's a brilliant tool to have.
Amazing. And how do you feel your job search has changed as a result of the kind of things you've been doing on the course? Is there anything that you feel that's really, you've become more focused, or you kind of seen it differently? Is there anything that you could bring forward in that?
I'll probably say, since I've done the course, normally when I'm unsuccessful, I won't say I get depressed or anything like that. I'll feel a bit disappointed, at least. Now, if I apply for a job and I don't get it, it's more of like, oh, okay, then this one wasn't for me then. Okay, what's the next one? Kind of thing. Because my outlook is very different now compared to when I first came in. It's very strange. It's very difficult to explain. But now, let's just say if I suddenly applied for 100 jobs and then let's just say all 100 of them unsuccessful, the old version of me will probably feel quite disappointed and probably a bit down, or maybe more than that. The current version of me now would be thinking, okay, so that didn't work, so what happened? What can I do? And most of the time, I will probably say there's nothing you can probably do apart from just move on to the next one, because a lot of times it could be things that has nothing to do with you as a person. So it could be the fact is that someone else just has more experience, or something like when they're talking to you, maybe you might say that, oh, you might live a bit too further away than the ideal candidate. Because obviously where I'm in London, Traveling, there is sometimes strikes. There's a lot of things that can go. Most of the time, if you prepare yourself to the best of your abilities for an interview, and then you've got all the answers down, and then you answer it, and then they seem like they like you, even if you don't get it, a lot of times it's not you as a person or your qualifications or your experience. It just means that someone's just a better fit in their eyes. And you shouldn't really take it too personal, and just see it as, I don't know, a warm-up to the real thing, I guess. I mean, the way that my mindset now is very different to how I was prior before the course. And I don't know if it's from the community, from the course, or I don't know if it's from the sessions, or I don't know if it's from my meditation. I think, to be honest, I think it's a combination of the whole thing. So basically, it's from the way that Andrea has set out the course. So that normally when we go in, normally greet with a handshake and then like a good morning, how are you kind of thing. And then to be honest, when I first did it, I didn't know this myself, but I was at the very beginning of, I'll probably say, about to become antisocial, really antisocial, because when I came into that, I kind of froze for a second. I was like, what? Already? kind of thing. But obviously now, because I'm not in that kind of state of mind anymore, I'm fine with it. But when I first started, that's when I realized, oh wow, it's got to this point already. That's pretty bad. So I thought, okay, I'm going to do everything in my power as possible to make sure I don't go back to that state again. And to be honest, I'll call it preaching. I was preaching to my work coach and said that you need to send people more to this thing here because it helps. As long as they are mindful and open to it, it will help. 100% it will help. I don't know how much it will help, but it will definitely help. Some more than others, but it'll be an upgrade to wherever your mental state or mind state is at.
I love hearing such positivity. Coming back to you, Andrew, is this the kind of thing that everyone says at the end of the course, that really they've seen a positive mindset shift? Is that like the kind of key thing that you hope that people will take away?
People take different things away, as Vincent said. Yeah. I think the breathing, I'm very happy that Vincent said about the breathing, because I do give it as a central tool, because it is a central tool, because essentially we are biology, and that breathing in deeply and then holding for a second and breathing out slowly, our body just responds to it. It's not like we don't have to play any mind games with it. It's just we respond to it. So actually, it's a fantastic tool. Sometimes what happens is, and this is particularly actually with guys, right, who will sometimes come in and think like, oh my God, she's a hippie, right? I can breathe without her, right? And then you get the two variations of either people stick around. I think the younger men like Vincent are actually way more open to it and don't feel sort of like this is weird. You've got more middle-aged or older men who sometimes feel it is a bit weird, and they either leave almost straight away or they stick around, and then after like 5 or 6 weeks, they already say, oh, could I do the course again? Which is really interesting. So I've had that on every single course, except for this one, because both of the guys actually who won the course have really lapped it up and are very open to it and want to use the tools and want to be part of that community. But yeah, and obviously we've got some success stories where people have moved into jobs over the time, and then others who a year later still are not in a job. So I can't say that it works 100% for everybody. One of the things I'm really pleased about is that usually once people stay for the second session, they usually stay. If people leave after the first session, yeah, I find it's a pity because they don't give it a chance, but I also don't take it personally. It is all about, in the end, about the nervous system, and to them, that doesn't feel safe yet. What we're doing to their system, it feels so unsafe that they have to leave, and I totally respect that. Lots of people go away with feeling like, yeah, now I've got different tools, I can act differently. And I think one of the things I'd like to say, and so sort of homework, we call it home practice, right? So we had some home practice, and it was all about showing appreciation to other people. And Vincent actually took it very seriously. He gathered his mum and sisters and told them about what they mean to him and what he's grateful for to them. And do you want to talk about what that sort of did in the end?
Normally, when I talk about my feelings, I don't really talk about it much. When we spoke about this, I thought, oh, actually, I got a very good opportunity to do this. So it was my sister's birthday, basically. We were all going to meet up. So I thought, okay, then this will be a good time. And then because normally my mum or sisters always try to get me to talk about myself to them, like how am I feeling, how am I doing? And I normally just give one-word answers, like I'm fine, or I'm good, everything's okay. So on the course, I realized that if I'm not going to fully embrace it and try new things and be honest, then obviously I'm just doing a disservice to myself, to be honest. So I decided to go and do it at that point, but it was a very scary, nervy situation I put myself in there. I didn't think about the consequences of what could happen afterwards. So it was like one big emotional time bomb was about to go off when I started. I put myself in a very vulnerable position and there was a lot of emotions flying, but in a good way. Not to say that I won't be in a hurry to do that again anytime soon, but from that, I do keep in the back of my mind, well, actually, it's more like at the front of my mind now, to contact each individual one of them as frequently as I can. Not every day, but instead of like once every couple of weeks now, it's more like once a week or maybe a bit over once a week now. So I'll ask them how they're doing. Is everything okay? What's you? And, it's just a general conversation, which normally I'll probably speak to them like once every month or two, something like that. So obviously, from what I've done is I realized that keeping connections and being a bit more open, but it doesn't mean that you have to talk about how you really feel inside, but just to keep that connection does help your mental state of mind also. So it doesn't make you feel so alone, I guess. And maybe it just keeps you, I don't know, something to look forward to, I guess. My mental state of mind is very different to how it was when I first started the course, or even before that. It's very different, vastly different. It's like, if I had to look at myself during that time and now, I'd be like looking at two different people, but obviously I look the same, but it's just like two totally different type of person that I'm staring at through the mirror. But obviously it's the same face, but yeah, it's very hard to explain. But let's just say that it was a very interesting thing that I chose to do. Although I did get warned by Andrea that you might want to do one-on-one, not like the group. I was like, no, I've already decided I'm going to go ahead and do that. I think next time, if I ever get to that state again, hopefully not, I'll do a one-on-one because it sounds like it's a bit more better. But obviously with my family, it's kind of like they do like to gather around and talk. So basically I thought, well, one-on-one or in a group, it doesn't make no difference. But for me, it was probably a bit more tougher because I saw each and different one of their faces and I saw each and different one of their emotions coming out. And I was like, this is a bit much for me anyway. So I think next time I'll probably go with the one-on-one if I'm ever in any situation like that again, because one-on-one is probably easier for me than to do a whole group because there's a lot of emotions flying around. And basically, to be honest, I'll probably say I'm slightly more in touch with my emotion now. Not like a hippie way, but let's just say I feel it a bit more than I did beforehand. So I guess it's a good thing.
It's brilliant. It sounds like you really took the big leap.
I mean, I'm a strong believer that if you're going to try something out, I won't say that you should throw yourself in the deep end, but let's just say that you should be more open to trying things out, even if it makes you feel uncomfortable, even though that it makes you feel a bit vulnerable. I mean, I know it's easier said than done, but sometimes you just got to take that leap of faith and see where it goes. And basically, I just thought to myself, well, I don't have really much to lose. I've got more things to gain. So I decided to take the leap. And luckily, it turned out quite well. Luckily for me, yeah.
It's so good. It's all really positive. So, Andrea, I shared with you the article about Joe Emery, the copywriter who's been applying for jobs. He unfortunately ended up getting sectioned due to his mental health during his search for work. 5,000 job applications and he's still not got a job. What advice would you have for him or someone in his kind of shoes?
I think to find a community of some kind, really important. So sometimes there are like men's walking groups or even men in shed groups or whatever, to not face all of this by themselves. And if their local job centre or something like this would offer something like that, I would definitely recommend they go to it because people are in a similar position. And I think one of the things that I find with each group is that they take everything initially quite personally. And then when they start sharing with each other and realize, oh, other people have problems with finances, other people have housing issues, other people have been rejected multiple times. It's not me, it's not personal. And that already takes that sort of shame off people and the feeling bad about themselves for no reason whatsoever. So yeah, definitely that. There are lots of breathing tools online. And however simple it sounds, I know you can't breathe 5,000 job applications away, but you can make yourself feel more in tune with yourself again so that you're more able to problem solve better. And there is the question around, if you get 5,000 rejections, is there another message underneath it in terms of the jobs he's going for, right? Because I can imagine that with AI, it's a real thing now, right? So I also work with organizations on organizational development. So that's my other hat. And I know of organizations who are now saying with every job that is meant to be advertised, people are being asked, could this job be done by AI? Do we need to recruit? And while that's not happening everywhere yet, and like the public sector is sort of still pretty immune to that, in the private sector, I think it's definitely a given now, and it's going to be more prevalent as time goes on over the next 2 or 3 years. And it's about really how can I future-proof myself as much as possible, because I think it's going to be impossible to totally future-proof ourselves. I think unemployment is going to rise despite the government's attempt to actually get more people into employment. The program that Vincent is on at the moment is actually funded through something called Trailblazers, which is a funding stream in order to find more innovative ways of getting people back into employment. And Bexley Business and Employment is using their Trailblazer funding for Refilling the Well. If that works out, then Refilling the Well could actually become available for other local authorities as well. People could already choose to run it. So if anybody's interested, then we can do that. But I think despite those attempts, in the next 3 to 5 years, unemployment is actually going to rise anyway because of AI. And I don't know what the government's going to do, whether they're going to introduce universal basic income and unemployment is going to be less of a stigma because a lot more people are going to be affected by it. But I think it also means probably that people will have different employment patterns of maybe it's not going to be full employment for everybody all the time. And it might be the smaller pockets of work that people have and then complemented with something like UBI. It's an interesting dilemma. And I think on the societal front, I think mental health is going to be a bigger and bigger topic because it's not just about the work itself. It's about the meaning that we get. It's about the relationships we have at work. It's about living our purpose and how people will do all of that without having regular work is going to be really challenging.
Absolutely. So many factors in the mix right now. And Vincent, just coming back to you quickly, we've sort of only got a couple more minutes, but have you seen like the job application, the job search process, has it really changed for you in the last year or so?
So I will probably say it's tougher.
Yeah.
I'll say it's tougher.
Have you encountered these ATS systems and the, AI reading your CV, that kind of?
No, but what I do know is that a lot of CVs, when you send them off, I mean, I suppose it might be AI, but I know that they use a software to scan it up and down to see if you put in certain keywords or if you have anything that is related to it. If it's not enough, then they will just put you in the no pile and things like that. I do know that that exists. I suppose that they're probably upgrading it to using AI, I guess. But I would say that, yeah, the job market is harder because I have a friend also that recently got unemployed. But obviously she's been unemployed for, I don't know, I think it's coming up to 6 months. I mean, in my head it's recent because I think that, because I've known her to always have a job. And basically she was telling me that she was finding it tough also. So basically I just told her that if you want, I can show you a few tools that I recently learned. And then I said that what you can do though, ask your local council or ask your work coach if there's anything similar to what I'm doing. And and then basically I just said to her that anytime that you're feeling low or anything like that, just give me a call and then afterwards I'll be your ear and then basically I'll see what I can do to pass on some of my positive energy over to you. Because obviously she asked me, how did I change? Because I think she's seen my gradual change.
That's great.
And basically, I think she wanted to know what was the secret. I mean, no secret, to be honest. The secret is all the stuff that we should be doing. But obviously, for whatever reason, we don't do it. I just said that, to be honest, even something as small as breathing makes a big difference. Taking a walk, I'll say makes a big difference. Going to certain environments. I mean, luckily, well, of course, the weather is good. So basically, hence why I was able to do some of the things I've done. So the environment makes a big difference. And and then some of the tools that I haven't been able to apply yet as of much. Maybe the situation hasn't come up with, but I've already got it in the back of my mind ready to be used when the situation comes up with. So then that's why I'm feeling quite good and confident that from now to some point down the future, I'm sure that these tools that I have learned from the course will become useful. But yeah, I was just going to say thank you for having me on. Much appreciated. So hopefully whatever I'm saying, whoever's listening would take some positives out of it, because to be honest, the most important thing is to add a few more positive energy inside of you. And then no matter how big or small, it does make a big difference, you know. Like small wins all add up, basically.
Yeah. So your big share for everyone will be to stay positive during their job search.
I would probably say take a small step as you need to, and then just keep taking them. And then eventually you will see that there will be a very big difference. I mean, I can't say how quick it will be, but I'm just saying every small step helps, and it just gets you moving. And basically, when you start, the hardest part's to start. But when you get going, you just keep moving. So basically, I'll probably say take whatever you need for that first step to look after yourself. It all adds up. So I'll probably I'll say the breathing. 100% the breathing. The breathing is the go-to thing with everything else. And then I'll probably say the next thing would be, easiest thing to do is probably get yourself a good support network. It could be friends, it could be family, it could be whoever that you need. Just as long as they're there for you actually listening and everything else, then that's the most important thing. I'll probably say that that's my key things I'll probably say for that. And then everything else should fall into place at some point.
Mm-hmm. Do you feel like you've got that support network from the course?
Yeah,
with the other
I mean,
people on the course?
I mean, to be honest, I've got my mum and my sisters, but I never really went out my way to use them. Mainly because in my mind, I thought, okay, they got their own issues and they have their own challenges, so that they don't need me to throw my one on top of them. Although I know that they keep saying to me that I should get in contact with them more to let them know what's going on. But obviously now, since I've been on the course, I've learned that the earlier I get some help and support, the smaller whatever the issue would be, rather than leaving it and let it build up. So I'll probably say that is one thing that I realized, that a lot of people that is or was in a similar situation to me, could be worse, could be not as bad. I think we all have this common thing that we don't deal with it quick enough. We leave it ignore it or something like that, and then it just builds up. And basically that's when an issue is not so big becomes really big. Just general things that I see a lot of people have that is quite similar, and then maybe they get overwhelmed. I think overwhelming is another one, because I was overwhelmed, but my overwhelming is very different to other people, because everyone's different. So then their version of being overwhelmed could be very different. Some people can't get out of bed, some people just pretend that nothing's happened. That's probably my one, which is the worst one. And I'll probably say just to breathe, get your support network going, and then try to be as transparent with yourself and get whatever help that you need as soon as possible. And then that would normally help, at least with the mental state of mind. In terms of the job thing, just treat it as a number, basically. Like, 52 might not work, maybe 78. If it's not 78, it could be 194. It doesn't matter. Just keep going, and then afterwards, the more that you do, the more that you probably want to take it personal, if you look at it as a number. And then when you're in a better state, you might not believe this, but the person that's interviewing you will probably feel it. It's not about seeing also, it's about sometimes when you go into a room, when you feel that person that is in a good place, they don't need to say that they're in a good place. You can just feel it. And then basically, I think just small things like that makes a big difference. So I'll probably say just do whatever you can to put yourself in a better place, and then after, everything will fall into its supposed place.
Thank you so much, Vincent. I really wish you all the best with your job search. I hope you find a great job really soon, and keep using those tools. It sounds like they're working for you, and it's great that you're sharing them as well.
Because Andrea's given us quite a few books, to be honest. I've only done parts of it. I haven't gone through the whole thing yet. So basically, I'm hoping that once I go through the whole thing, and I feel like there's a lack of awareness with it. I'm thinking, my feelings are, if I see someone that is struggling, whatever tools that I know, I'm just going to pass it on to them, and then it's up to them whether they use it or not, but at least it's been made aware of, and then hopefully it will spread eventually. Maybe not just from me, maybe from my other classmates, from Andrea or whoever Andrea works with, even here from you, from your listeners, whoever. It doesn't really matter, because as long as you're doing your part, that's all you can really do, really.
Absolutely. I think you're doing a great job in sharing those tools.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. So any final thoughts, Andrea, from all the discussion we've had?
Yeah, I mean, this reminds me that in each group, there's always usually a few people who really use the tools and pass them on. Usually external people notice the changes in them and then say, like, what are you doing? And I've had people who have sort of almost created like a dinner party and to teach other people the tools, right? Or they've passed the manuals on to them and said, but I want them back. Or they teach their children some of the techniques. So I've had people where the children went through GCSE or they went through difficult times in school and they actually taught them the tools as well. So there is a lot of that passing on, which is great. Then I also think that the groups are usually very supportive of each other. So there's usually that checking in. So we do have a formal checking in time, sort of for 10, 15 minutes at the beginning of the session, where I encourage people to go like, so what have you been practicing? What are the good things that have happened? Anything that you want to share or get some feedback on because it's not been so great? So that there's a little bit of sharing. And people are very supportive of each other's experiences and also genuinely encouraging when people are going to have an interview. I've had an interview and people are curious, did you get it? How was it? And I find that quite touching. And I think it would also help people that somebody else has an interest, whether I got this job or not.
And if anyone would like to find out more, how would they contact you, Andrea?
My business is called Change That Matters, and they can go to www.changethatmatters.co.uk. And there is a community section, and the Refilling the Well for job seekers is part of that.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you both so much for your time today and for sharing this with us and our listeners. It's fantastic. Really great work.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And good luck, Vincent. I wish you all the best. Let us know when you've got a job.
Okay. I don't know. I'll let Andrea know anyway.
Absolutely. Yeah. Keep in touch. Keep in touch.
A space to speak your mind with Cornwall Mind.
Thanks again to Andrea and Vincent, and also to Victoria for today's conversations. I'm Richard, and that is all for today's programme. If you missed anything, you can download the podcast right now on Apple, Spotify and Amazon Podcasts. And don't forget to like and subscribe to hear the new episode when it comes out, or listen back to any of our previous programmes. For support and more information for better mental health, visit cornwallmind.org, or you can call the Mind Helpline during office hours on 0300 123 3393. Alternatively, call the NHS Crisis Hotline on 111 and press 2. This gives you another way to get urgent help if you're struggling with your mental health. And don't forget you can call Samaritans anytime for free on 116 123. If you'd like to be a part of the show, get in contact with us. You can email us spacetospeakyourmind@gmail.com. And you can find out more about the show if you follow Cornwall Mind on Facebook or Instagram, or on their website cornwallmind.org. And we hope you'll join us next time here on A Space to Speak Your Mind.
A space to speak your mind with Cornwall Mind.